You have seen my next guest on every cable television network as a guest. He attended Oxford and Columbia universities and has taught extensively. He's worked on major political campaigns and served as a legal scholar in 20 different countries. As an immigrant from Grenada and a black conservative, he's concerned about the rising efforts to divide Americans for political advantage. Please welcome Dr. Christopher Metzler.
Thank you, Governor.
Dr. Metzler, it's great having you here.
Thank you, my pleasure.
You are on a lot of television shows. People want to talk to you because you're kind of an anomaly. How did you get through Oxford and Columbia?
I remember my first class at Columbia. The discussion was about what lunatics conservatives are. And I said to the people who were on the panel, I said, oh, so we're lunatics and you would be what? They're like, why is that a question? Exactly. So it really, it was a difficult experience.
Well, how did your worldview develop? Because, I mean, sometimes people are so shaped by their families or their environment and, you know, who they were listening to.
Sure.
But I'm curious as to what was your frame of reference that at some point you said, you know, I believe in the Constitution and liberty and certain things that made you a conservative.
Well, I am from the island of Grenada.
Yeah.
And so by nature, we're conservative people. But then secondly, everyone talks about the invasion of Grenada by Reagan. First of all, I like to correct people. It was not an invasion. It was an invitation from then President of CARICOM, Eugenia Charles. So after that, that really solidified, and I knew immediately at that point, I am a full-blooded conservative.
You have done a book called Divided We Stand, The Search for America's Soul. What do you say in that book that we ought to be taking attention to?
First of all, fake news.
There really is such a thing as a fake news?
Yeah, and I've done extensive research on that. And, you know, there's some networks I simply refuse to appear on because I'm not going to sit there, be the one conservative on the panel, and they're going to try to beat up on me. That's not going to happen, number one. Number two, it's the same thing over and over again. I'm smart enough to know, give me the facts, I'll make my own opinion. I don't need you to tell me what your opinion is.
There are a growing number, our audience certainly agrees with that. Dr. Metzler, there's a growing number of African Americans who are finding that when they really look at the political spectrum, they tend to be more conservative than they thought they were. And under the president,
yes,
unemployment in the African American community and the Hispanic community, not just lowest it has ever been in recorded history. Is that beginning to resonate?
It is beginning to resonate, but we still have the mentality of what I call the liberal loons, because they keep telling us that we're voting against our own self-interest. No, we do not want to be kept in poverty so that they can continue to eat from the trough. That's just simply not going to happen. And so the whole education, and I use that word derisively, coming from the left, I mean, the left has lost their minds. I don't know if they've ever had them, but that's a different story. But they've lost their minds. And so as a result of that, they are providing further division in this country. And every time I hear Maxine Waters speak, I have to turn the television off. She talks about the fact that people have created a caricature of her. No, she's a character that she created.
I'm not even going to argue with you on that. Let's talk about Brett Kavanaugh. President is nominated for the Supreme Court. What is your view of Brett Kavanaugh?
Exceptional choice.
Is he a good choice?
He is a very good choice. And, you know, there is this whole, oh, well, we're going to take him down. Oh, nonsense. First and foremost, he is a constitutionalist. It is absolutely clear. His work, everything he's published is absolutely fantastic. And I think he is going to interpret the Constitution. This nonsense of the left saying the president has an agenda, when selecting a nominee? Well, you know, we kind of remember Robert Bork, folks. So as a result of that, they have their own litmus tests. So go away.
You know, it's interesting because I've always said that I don't want there to be a conservative pick for Supreme Court.
Correct.
Any more than I want a liberal. I don't want a person ideological.
No.
I want a person who is a constitutionalist, who looks at the text of the Constitution, and no matter what their personal liberal conservative views are, they say, but when I am a justice, my only job is to look at the text of the Constitution and what it meant when it was written.
Yes. And that is absolutely right. And that is exactly what I think he's going to do. His record indicates that. And so all of this other nonsense is, as usual, noise.
Well, I want to thank you for your voice and clarity about Dr. Metzler. He's working on finishing a new book. I want you to keep an eye out for it. It's called Divided We Stand, A Search for America's Soul. Follow him at Dr. Chris Metzler on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Visit his website, drchristophermetzler.com.